Hi guys, welcome back. I am so sorry for the delay. I had some technical difficulties with YouTube now, but we're all good. So picking up where we left off last week, first things first, I want to apologize for missing the stream yesterday. I really had every intention to stream yesterday, but I had some items that I needed for today's stream that didn't arrive in time, and so I had to push the stream to today. So I hope you guys don't mind. I'm so sorry. But let's just get right into it. As the title suggests, I am continuing to do my work with Butterick 5935, and we are making a corset top. I have finished the main fashion layer, so now I'm going to just jump right into working with the lining. And what we need to do for the lining is we need to install the boning. So where we last left off, I had ironed the boning channels down. So I'm going to get started on boning this corset top. And to do this, I'm going to be using polyester boning, which is the type of boning that you can actually sew through. So that's what I'm going to do for you guys tonight. We're just going to sew through the boning and install these into the boning channels that I created. So let's just jump right into it. I won't waste any more time. Happy Wednesday, guys. We're almost done with the week, which I'm super excited about. So I'm so ready for the weekend. I can't believe we're like 1 week out to Christmas. Like, it's mind-boggling. All right, I'm going to sew in the first boning channel, and then I'm going to show you guys like my method to doing this. And before I get started, I'm actually going to be sewing the boning on this side so that it curves. So I'm going to be lining up the part that curves, and I'm going to be sewing it to the boning like this, to the bodice like this. And I know that it looks weird, but the reason for this is that when I install the lining to the corset, it's going to curve. So it's going to curve around me once I've installed these pieces. I know it doesn't make sense right now, but it will later. I absolutely promise you it'll make so much more sense later. So I'm just going to get started on sewing this into the boning channel. Now, while it's convenient to use boning that you can sew through, you still need to work very slowly with this. Going too fast with it can, hurt your machine. So just take your time when you're doing this step. Okay, so the first is done. So here's what it looks like with the boning sewn on. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but the boning is still curving. And the reason for that is because the fashion layer is going to go on top here. So this is what's going to be against my skin. So with it curving like this, that's what's just going to give us a better fit. Now, when it comes to installing boning into corsets, I actually leave quite a bit of space between the top and the bottom. That's just to ensure that when I put the fashion layer on top of the lining, when I'm sewing through it to connect them together, it's not going through the boning. It's not adding any extra bulk. So I prefer doing it that way. Okay, I'm fourth. What are you doing? Hi, Fourth. Welcome to my stream. I am actually making a corset top using this pattern right here. It is the Butterick 5935. It is a corset top pattern, and I am making view A here. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just installing the boning into the corset. And this is happening on the corset lining. So I'm just going to take my boning, measure out a strip that's long enough for this casing. And then I'm just going to cut and sew it. And this part can be usually is the most time consuming part. Okay, not as time consuming as doing the grommets, but it is quite time consuming. Corset top. Well, I think that you're pretty. Thank you. I hope it comes out the way that I envision it because I've already bought the outfit that I plan to wear it with. So if it doesn't, I'm going to be very upset. I also have purple lining in one of them. That's cool. I really like purple. I love purple so much. It's such a regal color. I think maybe my next project will have some purple in it. I haven't decided for sure, but it's an absolutely beautiful color. And I like my lights too. Okay, guys, so I'm just going to continue to go through and add boning to the rest of the channels here. So let's grab some more of this. This is actually my first time joining. I researched the word blog and your stream was there first. Thank you. I appreciate that you took the time to check out my blog. Let me know what type of content you want to see there because for the new year, I'm already starting to write new blog posts. So let me know what you want to see. I'd be more than happy to write something if you have a request for it. But it means a lot that you checked it out because not too many people know that I have a blog despite me posting about it constantly. So thank you so much for the time that you took. I really appreciate it. Do I have a seam ripper here? Yes, I do. I made a tiny mistake sewing through this channel. Funny enough, I wasn't paying attention and moving the fabric out the way, so I had actually kind of sewn the boning to another layer of the corset, but we're all good now. We can pick up right where we left off. Well, I'm glad that one of my ideas, have you thought of just recording yourself riding through the city? That should be interesting. I could do maybe a video of me going through the city into the fashion district where I shop for fabric. If that's something that you're interested in seeing, because we have a pretty awesome fashion district here in New York City. I live in New York City, by the way. So if you've ever wanted to see what our fashion district looks like, I could totally give you a tour of some of my favorite stores. I have a couple of fabric stores that I really like to shop at downtown. Have you ever been to New York? Yes, I think that would be new. Not many YouTubers give you a good look at their communities. You know what? You're right, because I don't think I've actually seen anything like that either. I live in New York City, but I specifically live in the Bronx, which is like an upper borough in New York City. But that would be nice, actually, to kind of give a tour of like what New York City's like. Because so many people are like, "What is it like here?" I don't think New York is anything spectacular, but that's because I live here. But if you would be interested in seeing that, then that's something that I could totally keep in mind for like another YouTube video. I probably won't be going downtown until like 2021. Christmas is next week, and we are going to be back on lockdown soon because of the pandemic. But after that, though, I will definitely keep that in mind. Hi, Bonso. Thanks so much for joining. I'm just sewing in the boning into this corset top. Having a fun time with that. Okay, so I officially have 4 channels done. So I'm just going to show you guys. No, I've never been. I think I fit right into New York. I used to be the most obsessed ever with fashion. Yeah, honestly, we have such a melting pot when it comes to like fashion in New York City. So I think anyone will really fit right in. We're pretty weird here. Okay, so I've got 4 channels with their boning installed now. So this is how it's looking, and then this is the outside of the lining. This is the side that's going to be against my body once it's done. Have you heard of Billy Elkner? He used to make videos on street and run up on randoms. I don't think I have heard of him. Also, running up on people in New York City is not something that I would do. Just because New Yorkers can be very aggressive when you do weird stuff like that. But kudos to him. I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't run up on me personally. I think I'm the last person you would want to run up on. I'm not mean or anything. I consider myself to be very approachable, but I'm a New Yorker, so I'm also tough when I need to be. That's all I'll say. Where are you from? Let's get to know a little bit more about you. He had a show on Feeds called Billy on the Street. It was so funny. You know what? Maybe after this stream, I'll check out like some of those clips just to see what type of experience he had. I'm from New Orleans. Oh my gosh, I have wanted to come to New Orleans for such a long time. Like I've always wanted to visit there. You guys have amazing food. Like I've seen the recipe books that are like offered at like Barnes and Noble and stuff like that. You guys have amazing food. I actually had one of my friends cook me like a New Orleans breakfast, which was consisted of like grits and like shrimp and like other things. I don't know if that's true New Orleans food, but it was so good. So yeah, that's definitely on like one of my places to visit. That's so cool. I've also wanted to check out like, well, I don't know if there will be, but I've always wanted to see the burlesque scene in New Orleans because I hear it's like really nice. Food is so good. I almost want to stay there. Right? I feel like, I don't know. I feel like New Orleans is an experience, and it's an experience that I really, really want to have. nice being a part of your stream. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that you're having fun, just vibing out, watching me make a thing. And I have spent, just so you guys know, I have spent like all day making things. Like this morning, I got up to work on Lenore. So if you check out my Instagram stories, you will see that I finished the corset and the skirt for Lenore today. So now I'm working on this. And the last thing that I need to do with the Lenore outfit is I actually need to install the grommets. So that way we can do the corset lacing. And then I'll be done with that costume by this weekend. So hopefully I can shoot. And then I'm going to be starting a new coat. Decided I wanted to make myself a fur coat. So I have so many projects like lined up. And then I'm also making a new dress for Christmas. So I'm so swamped with projects. Oh my gosh, we're almost done with this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we have 4 more to do. I'm kind of running out of boning. I'm gonna need to buy some more. Okay, so one of the hard parts about doing boning is when you have to put boning on like a curve. Like that's where I struggle. It's coming out kind of funky, but we're gonna make it through. Hi. I'm sorry, but I have to go. Good luck here. I hope that you have a great Christmas. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I hope that you have a happy holidays too. Have a good evening. I actually think I want to shorten this piece a little bit so that I can cut it. Okay, almost done, guys. Just 2 channels left. Did I sew a piece over again? Wow, I most certainly did. All right, so I have to seam rip now because I wasn't paying attention, and while I was doing the boning channel, I actually sewed the other half of the corset top to the channel. Wow, throughout the whole thing too. Goodness me. Okay, this doesn't look too hard to get out. Gosh, Kia, be more careful next time. This was careless. As you can see, sometimes I make some pretty obvious mistakes while making things because this was something that I should have caught. Should not have gotten this far in without realizing that I was sewing the other side to the boning channel. But that's what seam rippers are for. So we're just gonna have to unpick that and then get that together. It's a good thing that this is the lining and not the fashion layer because I would really hate to be putting more holes into that fabric. As expensive as it was. Because once again, guys, the fabric that I'm using for my fashion layer was $30, okay? And that was just for 1 yard of fabric, so. Okay, so I have basically had to unpick this boning completely. So let's try this again without getting the other side involved. And let's try installing this again. Okay, good. So last layer, let's do it. Or rather, last boning channel. So alright, so So as of now, we're officially done with this. We can just put that on the side there so we have more space to work with. Oh my gosh, what just fell? I just dropped my clips. That sucks because I need those next. Okay, so here are the boning channels, guys. The boning is all done. So now I'm just going to go ahead and pin this to my fashion layer. So let me see if I can finagle my foot. Oh gosh. That's the joys of going live, guys. You get to see all of the bloopers. So I'm gonna lay this out. And now I'm gonna lay my fashion fabric on top of it. And basically what I'm gonna do now is try to match up the seams. And then that way the next thing we can do is just sew through this completely. So what I'm going to try to do first is I'm trying to match up all of the lines between the fashion layer and the lining, and then go around everything else and connect those dots. Now, when you do something like this, they may not match up perfectly, and that's okay, but try your best. You just get a cleaner finish if you do it that way. Remove these before I knock it over again. Now, I'm not going to say my cutting is the best, so some parts might be a little bit bigger than the other, but I'm going to do what I can to match these up. that's the top. So now let's try to do the bottom, and then maybe we can sew through this entire thing tonight. That would be really nice, actually. Super happy to have clips for this, guys. If you guys don't have like these little like duckbill clips, bad color, let's try green. These clips right here, there we go. I really suggest them. Sometimes they just work a lot better than like traditional sewing pins. Right now it's really helping me to not put more holes in my fabric. So I appreciate that right now. I feel like this is going to take every clip that I have in my little container. So a little bit more of these out that we have them. Best part about these is that you can pin them anywhere you want and there's no damage to your fabric at all. Which is perfect for someone like me because I tend to like overpin things. The goal was to really have this done by this week, but now I'm not so sure because I really do want to take my time with putting this together. But you know what? It takes however long it takes. It was an expensive fabric. I care about this project deeply. So maybe before the new year, and then we'll figure out what the next project is going to be. Alright, so now that I have, like, for the most part, matched up all the seams, I think now I can really start sewing this together. Alright, so I've pinned all the pieces together, so this is the front, and then this is what the inside is going to look like. So like I told you guys before, the boning channels are actually going to be in the inside of the corset, so once I sew this together, you won't be able to see any of it. Against my, well, not my wish, but just get the hard part over first. I think I'm going to start with the top of the corset, which involves like sewing through like the straps. Just because that's really the hardest part and I'd rather just get through it. So I'm just going to use a few more pins on this side, just because I want to make sure that these parts match up as like best as I can get them, so that when we do the bias binding, it's as even as I can possibly get it. All right, guys, I'm just going to go through this and let's see where we end up. So I'm checking, make sure I'm catching. I'm like holding my breath as I do this because I don't want to mess up. almost done with the top part of the corset, guys. So that's good. It makes me feel like I accomplished something tonight. 744. Let's see if we can get through the bottom part too, which should be a lot easier than the top part because there's not as many twists and turns. Let's see if we can get through that. I'm actually just going to start putting these away because if I continue, I'm just going to hit them and there will be clips everywhere. So as not to make a mess, I'm just going to go ahead and put these away. Make life easier for me when it comes to breaking down my setup. All right, guys, so the hard part is done. The corset fashion layer has now been attached to the actual corset lining. So now I don't know if you guys can see it on my table, but the bodice is like slightly curved, and that's because the side that curves has been attached to the fashion layer on the outside. So now the bodice will curve naturally the way it's supposed to because of the fact that we did that. So this looks really good. Okay, so we were able to get through this in an entire evening. So the only thing that's left to do now is to clean up the threads, which I'll probably just do off camera. And then since I missed yesterday's stream, I'm streaming today, which is Wednesday, and I'm also streaming tomorrow, which is Thursday. So you can catch me back here tomorrow, and we will then attach some bias tape to the corset. Let me just open this. This is what I was waiting for last night, actually. I'll show this to you guys. So this is the bias binding, and we will actually be putting this on the bottom of the corset to kind of like seal the edges here. So that's what we will be doing tomorrow. I'm just gonna cut this piece off. Yeah, so we'll be using this to go around the entire corset. Got about 9 minutes left of this, so maybe I'll just start pinning it together now. So how I intend to do this is I intend to pin it to the bottom of the corset and then sew through it and then fold it over and then sew through the other side. So yeah, I can actually do that for you guys before we leave out of here. I'll just start pinning this in place. That way, when tomorrow comes, we can just get started. I'm going to start with the bottom first just because there's so many twists and turns on the top. That'll take a lot longer. So we'll do the bottom first because that'll be easier. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it, especially after I missed like last night's stream, which is, you know, according to my normal schedule. Oh my gosh, I have so many pins. This is what I was telling you guys about when I'm like addicted to pinning everything. Like that's what I do. So that's why I'm happy to have these. And my goal here is to pin above the stitches I just made to join the two pieces together. Just to cover them up because they're kind of unsightly, but they're a necessary part of making this garment. So my goal now is to use the bias binding to try to cover up as much of it as I can. And what'll probably end up happening is I'll sew through this, and then whatever's kind of left on the other side, I'll maybe cut off and then fold it over. That way it just looks a lot more neat. I am so sorry about that. That is my mother calling, and I will call her back in 10 minutes after my stream is over. Does anybody else's mom just call like at the worst times? Well, you know what? Not really the worst time. It's never a bad time to talk to my mother, but right now just isn't it. So I now have this pin. And here she goes again. All right, guys, I'm really sorry. This is like the second time that she's called, so now I am beginning to think that something might not be okay. So with that, that's where I'm going to end tonight's stream. I'm so sorry about that. But here is the bias binding that we're going to use, guys. And I picked this because it's going to match the inside of the corset. And I think that this color here is going to contrast nicely with the whole thing. So we'll be back here tomorrow at 7. And this is when we will attach the bias on the top and bottom, hopefully. And we'll be one step closer to being done with this corset project. So thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I really appreciate having you. And I will see you guys tomorrow back here at 7. Bye.